Hi Gemini, my name is Audrey Alison and this is your December 2014 forecast for the month. I'm so happy to be here. Thanks for joining me. And I've got the stars and the cards and I'm all set. Let's start with Mars. On December 4th, Mars is going to leave Capricorn and enter Aquarius. And this will impact your ninth house of education or long-distance travel, higher mental thoughts, the broadening of your horizons, metaphysical activities, your philosophies, your spirituality, your religion, your religious beliefs. Mars is a stimulating planet. He is action, aggression. He is will, drive, determination, and energy, passion. So you might have the desire to start school or take a class or study something, diving really deeply into some kind of belief or belief system. Mars is actually stimulating this sector for about 60 days. So your intrigue into the ninth house of metaphysical land is activated in a very strong way. On the 6th, we have our full moon at 14 degrees Gemini. This is your full moon. This is your first house. This is the one full moon that you get this year. So it's bringing something to an awareness, an ending. And something could be illuminated as far as the self, whether it's your physical self that you want to release, that you want to let go of, a habit or a pattern that you've accumulated throughout the year. Your full moon is the perfect time to initiate that in the year. So the 6th is when that occurs. On the 8th, Jupiter is going to retrograde. I don't mind a Jupiter retrograde because he's still magnificent and very powerful. So he's retrograding at 22 degrees Leo in your third house of communications, but it's not like a Mercury retrograde. It's not going to affect the speech. If anything, it's just slowing down some of the benevolent fruits that he's been giving you. The third house is contracts, negotiations, and communications. So it doesn't really slow that down. He just maybe, the blessings come in a little bit slower, but they still are, very large with Jupiter there. On the 10th, Venus is transiting out of Sagittarius and into Capricorn, and this is actually affecting your 8th house. So the 8th house is intense, but it's intimacy, and it's sex. It's also death and property, taxes, wills, estates, inheritances, things that are governed normally by Pluto and Scorpio. So Venus is the planet of love and money. Entering the 8th house, you could actually be receiving some dough, inheritance, the selling of property, the purchasing of property at a bargain, or loving the intimate connections, the intimate relationships that you have, really finding a sensuality with your partner if you have one. Now, on the 15th and 16th, our Uranus-Pluto square that we've been having, Uranus who's stationed in Aries, Pluto is stationed in Capricorn. The 15th and 16th will cause some tense days. It's at 12 degrees, exactly almost in the middle, and it's pitting your 11th house of friendships and goals against this 8th house of intimacy. Perhaps some of your friends might have beef about who it is you're seeing. And if they do, tell them to mind their business. Or it could be a lot of different ways to look at this. The 11th house is also your goals and your wishes. And the 8th house, against that could be, taxes or property. Perhaps you really want to obtain this piece of land or to have something come through as far as inheritance. And there could be just a little friction on that day with the 11th house of goals or clubs, groups, a legal firm, holding things up. A firm would represent the 11th house as well. It's a group of people. And the 8th house would be, you need paperwork and signatures in order for this inheritance to go through. Something of that, just ride out the 15th and 16th because it's a little stressful at that time. You know, with Pluto, will be conjunct Venus, so there is a smoothing over a little bit to have them in the same house. But also in the same house, on the 21st, our Sun and our new moon are both in Capricorn, and that's the 8th house again. So, and the new moon's at exactly 0 degrees. So you could be initiating the purchase of a new home at this time. And there's no better time actually in the full year than to buy property or land around the 21st of December for you, Gemini. Okay, so the new moons, you know, we initiate something new. It's a new endeavor. It's the birth of something that in that sector that it falls. So it could be that you're taking your relationship to a more intimate level. You know, the Sun in this 8th house too, I want to say that whoever's been ailing, or if there has been an illness that's been debilitating, this is also coming to me clairvoyantly. It's not so much astrologically, even though the 8th house is involved. I feel like with the Sun there is a healing, or there is a way that everybody involved feels better. Now, unfortunately, that could be a release of life because of the 8th house being the house of death. I want to see what the cards say about that when I pull them, but I'm also hearing that if it's time to release something, it's best to go with this change. I mean, you'll have no choice. However, your reaction to it, you do have control over. So be kind to yourself as much as possible. Now, I don't feel like this is sudden, you know, sudden death because, you know, Uranus is stationed in Aries, and I just feel like if anything's sudden, it could be the information that comes in electrically, but it's almost like it's supposed to benefit everyone involved. The Sun illuminating the sector is warming over the 8th house of intimacy. Also, those of you who are looking for homes or a place to live, this transit, this Sun and the new moon at 0 degrees Capricorn would be the perfect time for this to go through. We also have our big switch with Saturn on the 23rd, exiting Scorpio, where he's been for 2.5 years. And he'll enter Sagittarius, and this is your 7th house of relationships. So you will be going through some restructuring in this 7th house. Restriction. Saturn is restructure, and he takes 27 to 30 years to go around the whole zodiac. So when he's with you in this house, he's doing his job on really reshaping how you are in relationships and with whom you are in relationships. So allow him to, because this is what a Saturn return is, usually when it's to your 1st house. But this is the Saturn return to this sector for you. He'll be working on you, and it's good because you'll be fine-tuning either the relationship that you're in, or you'll be fine-tuning the self in order to draw in the correct partner for you. I do want to get to the cards and see what else comes up. I've been hearing a few things, and I'm going to get them out of my head as soon as I have the cards out. Okay, so the 5 of Wands. I love this card. It kills me every time I look at it. I don't know why. I feel like if I could live in a tarot card, the 6 of Swords is the one I want to live in. It's one of my favorites. Temperance. And Strength. Okay, so I see my video is acting a little weird. So I might have to be right back. I'll see how this goes. But let me just try to get as much out as I can. What's happening here is an absolute need to go with any changes that come through, because this is telling me that patience is required. Patience, balance, beauty, and timing is important, and this is also the card of Sagittarius. So this is your relationship polar opposite, Gemini. And the Strength card is your outcome. It's also the sign of Leo in the Tarot. But I really feel like what you're going through is leading you to this, to get stronger. This is your passionate, creative endeavors. For those artists out there, and for those of you who actually work with your hands, that could be a lot of positions, anything from carpentry to auto mechanics to painters to sculptors to guitar players. For those of you who are creating with the hands, this is a very productive month for you, gaining more clients, gaining more stamina in the field that you're skilled in. Also, you don't have to push too hard because it's coming to you anyway. It's coming to you naturally. So go with the flow of where you're being led. I know that Gemini is, you rule the nervous system, you run on high, you have a lot of anxiety in general. So it's really hard for you to be this card. I think that's maybe why I find it so comforting. I'm at 29 degrees Gemini myself. However, really try as much as possible to take a breather in December on how much you're thinking, because the swords being the mental card, they rule the air signs of Gemini, Libra, Aquarius. You want to slow down the mind as much as you can. Allow this process to happen. I have a feeling it's very intense because your 8th house is triggered from the 10th of December out through the whole month. And that's the most intense house. Everything from property to death, to sex, and intimacy and inheritances, like I discussed earlier. So you're going to be receiving information, Gemini, and that's what you're here for anyway. You are the messenger. That's one of your roles in this lifetime. So you want to heed what messages are coming in. Pay attention to that. Thanks so much for tuning in. My name is Audrey Alison, and if you'd like to book a private reading with me, you can reach me at audreyallison.com, as well as Facebook, Audrey Allison, Astrology and Tarot. Have a beautiful month of December, and I will see you next month. Have a sweet day. Bye.